Oh, yeah.
All right, so
Attention!
we'll wait on Bert to get back because she's going to connect us with the Downing side, the Downing part of Vienna. Come on, Miss Bert.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk to you about the parts we're going to talk to you about the parts that you know, that we know, and we're not all inclusive. So what we're going to do is encourage you to do some investigation on your own. We've learned a lot of the things that we're going to do through research. We have some of it is family stories that have been handed down, and some of it is stuff that we've been able to find through research. And so we're going to start with so we'll just start with where the Martin name came from.
Attention up here!
Does anybody know where the Martin name came from?
I'm probably the oldest one in this group. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I know you're Martin. A lot of us up here are Martins. So if any of you guess that the Martin name came from slave ownership, you're correct. The Martin name came from Judge John Martin. So if you're doing any research in Ancestry, and if you look on the back of the cards, then you'll see that the slave owner for Aaron Martin, and we'll get to that in just a moment, to who he was. But Aaron Martin, it says slave owner was John Martin. John Martin was he was a judge in this area. So, not in this area, but in Oklahoma. He was famous as a judge. He was famous for he used the Cherokee, they used the Cherokee laws, and he helped to develop the Oklahoma laws. He has a monument that's in Fort Gibson right now, and I'm not going to so much highlight who he is, but I want you to know where the Martin name came from. And so you have some history though on John Martin, so you're going to talk about him coming from, and he was Cherokee. So let's talk about where he came from, the Trail of Tears and all that.
I don't do the mic. Not if y'all can hear me. What's that?
The first name again?
Judge John Martin.
No, but can you say that one more time?
Say it one more time. Or repeat the whole thing.
Check it out.
So the Martin name, as you know, when we were, I hate to say it because it really just kicks me off, but when our ancestors were owned by other people, we took on their names. So we're trying to get to Africa, but we never got there yet. And so, but coming to Oklahoma, we're close. Burn is close. So for those of us, the majority of us are in Oklahoma, and the Martin name came from Judge John Martin. And there's a monument for him that's in Fort Gibson if you want to study about the history of Judge John Martin. So that's where the Martin name came from.
So I don't need the microphone. If you can't hear me, just let me know.
I can hear you.
Well, turn your hearing aid up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Judge John Martin came from Georgia. He might have been born in Tennessee. That's a toss-up. They're not really sure where he was born at, but we know he comes from Georgia. That's where he came from when the Trail of Tears started. In 1827, he was Chief Justice of 2 counties in Georgia. He married 2 sisters. They had 8 kids apiece.
Be there.
Then in 1837, they headed to Oklahoma on the Trail of Tears, him and his family. So they ended up in Fort Gibson. Then, what do we want to know that? Anybody got any questions about that? They took it this
John Martin.
Yes, John Calvin. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here it is. He had 2 wives, one named Eleanor and one named Lucy.
And they were sisters?
Yes,
they were sisters.
And the 2 wives named
Eleanor
and Lucy. They were McDaniels.
And they had 8 children. Each of those wives had 8 children. That's where the band name came from. That's where the Lynch came from. That's where the Adair's came from. That's where the Gans came from.
That's where the Landrums
That's where
came
the
from.
Landrums came from. So we can tie all these names that we're familiar with in Oklahoma, especially around the Nowata, Chelsea,
Yes.
Friar Creek area. That's where we could tie all of these names together from all of these children that on the slave, all these things.
And Lucy is a nickname for Lucinda.
But I'm said that.
Nellie is a nickname for Eleanor.
Okay,
So
so
Nellie.
that's a good
Eleanor.
segue. So Eleanor, Nellie is a name for Nellie is a nickname for Eleanor, right?
Yeah.
So our great grandfather now, Aaron Martin, okay. So there's plenty of Aarons in the family, right? Exactly. So our great grand, yeah, there's one right there. So our great grandfather, Aaron Martin,
Dad, come
how do you say?
Dad. Yeah. Y'all really doing.
Yep.
Daddy. Daddy ain't on here. Papa ain't on here. But Daddy could be a good man.
Yes.
My mama, she good.
That's lots of kids.
My mama ain't care.
Yep.
My mama ain't.
So we're gonna get to those children in just a moment. Who all those children? That's where all of us hail from. So, Aaron Martin was married to Queen Downing. Her first wife was Queen Downing, our Downing cousin over here. And then he also was married to Cora Downing. Cora Downing.
They sisters.
They were sisters. Now, but Queen had passed away. He had a set of children with Queen, and she had passed away. And then he married her sister, Cora.
Yeah.
Verna's great grandmother is Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann Martin, Aaron Martin's sister.
Old cousin, but
So that's where this relationship comes.
Sarah and Queen's father was Reuben Downey.
Yeah.
Oh, no, take it now.
No, I'll bring it back in.
No, okay, let's back to y'all.
Okay, so Cora and Queen's dad was Reuben Downey. Okay,
Her
so
mother was Jenny Martin.
Jenny Martin.
So she was a Martin, and she married a Down.
So I want to take it back to John Martin for just a minute. I want to take it back to John Martin for just a minute. They had, I want to say, estimated number of 320 slaves home right. So the Martin community or the Martin city, that's pronounced it that way, is because we are large.
Now, there's no question about how many slaves he brought here to Oklahoma. He came here with a 300 detachment of Cherokees plus slaves. So there's not a definite amount of how many were slaves at the time, but he came with a detachment of 300.
They came over with him on the Trail of Tears. So it wasn't just Native Americans that came with the Trail of Tears.
Right there
Yeah.
on the Trail of Tears. You've heard of the Old Settlers Road?
Right.
Okay, the ones that are on the Old Settlers Road came over prior to the Trail of Tears. So that's just your note, because when they came over, it was a little bit better traveling and coming to Oklahoma because it's so they're on that settlers growth.
And they basically had a deal cut for them. Those settlers had a deal cut for them as they were getting ready to kick people out of Georgia because they thought Georgia was it was fertile ground. And as they were getting ready to kick people out of Georgia, the old settlers had a deal cut with them that they obtained land prior to. So some of them got here prior to the Trail of Tears, and they got land and more land that was given to them. And they also got money that was given to them as well. So that's where, when you're doing your research and you hear about the old settlers, that was the ones who were given the deal before they were kicked out. And when they were kicked out, the ones that were kicked out were the ones that were on the Trail of Tears that came here to Oklahoma. And again, with what we know about, it's 300 slaves.
Yeah.
And amongst those were our relatives. That's how we got here to running with stuff rather than
Does anybody know how they got kicked out of Georgia? Why they got kicked out of Georgia? Gold. White people found gold on the land that they had. They found gold. That was the number one reason why they got kicked out of Georgia, is because they found gold.
And they didn't know that Oklahoma had oil on it. They wouldn't have ever kicked them out here and sent it to Oklahoma, and they had known that there was oil on the land. And so they were allotted. If you're looking in your, if you're doing your ancestry and you see affidavits where they were allotted so much land, our grandfather said, okay, so Aaron, they had to go before the Dawes Commission. Prior to that, there were several commissions that there wasn't several commissions, there were several roles. So you hear about different roles. It wasn't just the Dawes role. The Dawes role was considered the final role. Now it's the one that the government said, this is it. We're not taking into consideration any more than this. So they were allotted so much land, but prior to being allotted land, the Civil War happened. Y'all familiar with the Civil War? You gotta know your history, gotta know how this impacted us. And so the Civil War happened. When the Civil War happened, that was a war between the North and the South, right? So some people, it was more economic. It wasn't about freeing the slaves. It wasn't about that at all. It was an economic war. So what they thought was that slaves, the South, the North wanted to not have the slaves. The South wanted the slaves because the slaves felt them to, they're the ones who did the work, right? And so it was more of an economic war, but a lot of people fled to Kansas, which is where our relatives fled to, Kansas, Texas, Mexico. So you'll see a lot of our ancestry when you're doing the research that there may have been some that came from Mexico. But a lot of our fled to Kansas. They had to be back, whereas the war, when the Civil War was, they had to be back in Oklahoma in order to acquire land. They had to be back in Oklahoma prior to the fall of 1865.
1866. They had to be back July of 1866 here in Oklahoma
in order to be allotted land. And so then they went before the Dawes Commission, and you'll see some affidavits for some of our grandparents. There's even one, there's one of Aaron, as he's testifying, and he's trying to get land allotted to him. So there's one of him, he died prior to his land being allotted to him. Our great-grandfather sure died prior to land being allotted to him. But he went before the commission for the land to be allotted to his children as well. And at that time, Cornelius is. Neely. Oh. C. So he had these three names that he may have gone by, that he was known by, but that's our grandfather is Neely, right? Who's our grandmother? I know you. Right, Joanna. Who? Willie J. That's it, Willie J. Willie Joanna. And so Willie Joanna, now we're going to combine two more names here. Willie Joanna was a Lowe. Our maiden name is Lowe. And when you're doing the research, if it says if it says like Willie Lowe, Harton, means maiden name. So when you're looking at that means maiden name. So Willie Joanna her name was Love. Her maiden name was Love. She married Cornelius Martin. And our grandfather, Cornelius, was like 9 years old, and he had, if I remember right, 80 acres. No, it was by 80, yes. That was a land allotment. Was it? No. It was. Some of that were, depending on whatever their Indian, they were freedmen. So, okay, now we're bringing this into the freedmen part. Everybody.
Something on that land allotment.
Yes.
I think it's just,
Yes.
everyone in here needs to really know that the majority of the Martins that she's discussing and talking about, their land allotment. And if anybody heard of Prior Creek, Oklahoma?
Yes.
Anybody heard of the Cooley District?
Yeah.
Okay, Alloy, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Okay, between Chelsea, Alloy, Prior Creek, in that area, in the Cooley District in Rogers County, is where the majority of the Martin land allotments were. And it's quite a kid.
You put in allotments.
Yes. I mean, there's a little lake called Chelsea Lake, where Chelsea Lake is, that was marked, and I believe that's where Cornelius, or one of Cornelius and y'all's, is where their land allotment was. It is now a lake. But I think it's real important to know where those land allotments were. And one of the things about the freedmen land allotments, they were restricted. In other words, if you lose it, you lose it. Unlike the Native Americans, their lands were protected for 25 years.
Yes.
Ours was not.
And what that means by protected is that for those who were freemen, their land was not protected, meaning someone could come in and get, let's say that, okay, our grandfather was a child when he got his land allotment. And if their parents died, then someone could come in and say, swindle them out of it, or say, I'm going to be their guardian, and then sell off parts of their land, and go, petition the courts to be their guardian, and then sell off parts of their land, parcels of their land until it was all sold off. Their land wasn't protected. If you were Native American by blood, that land was protected, meaning people couldn't come in and swindle them out of their land. So they were able to retain their land, whereas freedmen were not able to retain their land. Do you all know the difference between freedmen and by blood?
Yes.
Okay, good. Somebody else here knows. Okay, so we're Cherokee freedmen, and not everybody. I'm talking about Martin here, because some of our parents in here were Cherokee by blood, is just like I know Matt and it's Cherokee by blood. But for Martin and Lowe, Grandma Willie was Creek by blood. Grandpa Cornelius was freedman. Freedman means that you were enslaved by Cherokee, and he is this. When I say Cherokee freedman, his family was enslaved by Cherokees. So yes, the Native Americans had slaves as well. Now they treat their slaves differently. There's lots of historical books that you could read about that tells you how they were treated, and they were actually treated like part of the community. And so they didn't really get the harsh treatment. They were more or less brought in, and that's why you saw the intermarriages and the things like that. So, freedmen, Cherokee, freedmen, Creek, by blood. So if you have a Creek card, you probably have it, your blood. And we'll talk about those cards in just a minute if you don't have your sound or this to get the card. But there you go. So you got freedmen down now. Okay, we fast forwarded out to Willie and Cornelius. Cornelius is where Cornelius is our grandfather. If one of your parents came from Willie and Cornelius, that'd be why y'all get in.
Who would that be? Oh, look alike.
So yeah, we do have some. I mean, we do. We have some very strong similarities. All of us. You can pick a Martin out. It's about anywhere. We would go places and they say, "I remember those Martin rails." So name Cornelius and Willie's children.
Julius,
That's Uncle Bud.
Aaron,
Uncle Aaron.
Albert,
Cornelius, that was Uncle Red. Carl Albert.
Cora,
Cora and Cora.
Castella,
Castella.
William,
William, my daddy.
My daddy.
If there was about 22 of us in here, we'd all be saying, my daddy, my daddy, my daddy, my daddy. All right. Who else? Who do we miss? Uncle Hiawatha?
yeah. If you say Julius, Julius.
Yeah. Julius is Uncle Bud.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, Correct. Uncle Red is another Cornelius. Yeah. So, Uncle Hiawatha is a Watson, yeah. Here go Hiawatha's granddaughter back there. Yeah, so he was Watson. And so a lot of us we grew up and he was Uncle Hiawatha. That's all we knew. And then when we started hearing the two names, we were like, who is Uncle Hiawatha? Just a caveat about Grandma, Uncle Hiawatha was born in Tulsa in February of 1921. Anybody recognize the 1921 in Tulsa?
Laying out Greenwood, right?
So we know that February, if you fast forward to May 31st, June 1st, the Tulsa Race Massacre happened. So grandmother used to live in Tulsa, and that's where Uncle Hiawatha was born, in Tulsa. But yeah, so over to the other side, on the Lowe side, grandmother, dad's name was, who's your great grandfather?
Willie.
Willie Lowe. Willie Lowe. So Willie Lowe, he had two sets of families as well. He was also married to Susie McIntosh, and that's where Aunt Ada, well, we're not saying aunt, it's our great aunt because it's grandmother's. I know we do the half step thing, but we don't. Families do. And so Aunt Ida, Aunt Ada, Aunt Stella, and Uncle Theophilus. That was Willie Lowe's. That was Willie Lowe's children, and as well as. Okay, let me start. I mean, Grandma's story. Oh, Stella. Willie, Bertha. Get them in order. Willie, Bertha, Uncle Jim, Aunt Evelyn. Second born. Who am I missing? Aunt Bertha, Aunt Evelyn, Uncle Jim, Grandma, Willie. And those boy. Did you say Jim? Say Jim. Saying Gammons. So if you're doing the research once again, there's an affidavit that's in there where grandmother's mother is holding grandma, and then as she's doing the affidavit, as she's doing the trying to go before the commission to get lands for them, she's holding our grandmother, holding Grandma Willie, because they asked her what the name of the baby is, so she says it's Willie. It's very interesting to read these. You can find this information in Ancestry. You can find it in Polls 3. Polls 3 has a lot of information. Polls 3. And then we found a lot of interesting and funny newspaper articles. Funny now, probably wasn't funny at the time, but we found a lot of newspaper articles. So if you do newspaper.com, that also has a lot of history in it. So here,
Well, some of our ancestors are in books.
oh yeah, yeah. Grandpa Willie Lowe, he was presentable, yeah. He was physical. He didn't mess with me, I mean, he did. Bass Reeves, he was a fugitive or an outlaw or a Bass Reeves. Black Star,
Silver Star.
say it again? Black Gun, Silver Star. Grandpa Willie is mentioned in that book, as well as Mary Emanuel is in that book. So I just wanted that mention. So we have we're well known in some of the newspaper articles, such as I don't mean to get into dark, but it is history. This is our grandparent. Whereas they're called Neely. Was married 3 times. His first wife, Fredonia, Fredonia Band, Georgia. One of the wives ran steel. So she was a good lady.
That thing.
And she was well known, and she too was an outlaw. But anyway, you'll find some interesting articles about her family in some cold newspapers. And if you go ahead.
Right there when you said the newspaper articles, those were the good articles, but we also had some not so good articles. And some people, because they had the black code law, so people were picked up, thrown in the penitentiary for looking at a white lady or looking at a white pen the wrong way. So there were a lot of our ancestors that were placed in the penitentiary. The penitentiary records has a plethora of information. It has pictures of them. It has people who they wrote, who they were related to. And, you know, like I said, don't get embarrassed or ashamed because you have a relative that was in the penitentiary, because that just opens up the doors of records and pictures of people that we would probably not have in photographs. Or just have to throw that.
And one last little tidbit is Grandpa Neely, he died in a car crash. And so Grandma Willie had to raise her children. We're 8 of them, 10 actually, because I think the Elizabeth and Olivia, obviously, they were so like awesome. So Grandma Willie raised 10 children by herself.
Wow. And ranging from baby, Uncle Albert was the baby. And he and Cassie was, and Cassie was in the car with Grandpa when he had the car accident, right? There was one other child. Do y'all know who it was? I'm just asking. I know Aunt Cassie was.
Chick was shaking her head, yes.
Do you know who's other? Aunt Cassie was in the car with him. There's a newspaper article as well. So if you do newspapers.com, and what I will do whenever I'm researching, I'll just put in the newspaper in the area where they live, like Chelsea or Nowata, or I'll put it in areas where they live, and then you just put in the name, and it'll bring up everything with Martin, and then you search out the ones, and it doesn't all go at once either. It'll be like, because we found one with Grandpa where we knew about the car accident, but we didn't find out later on. You know, the car accident later on came up, 3 articles later? Yeah. But it was a few years before we found that one. So you don't find them all at once. It really is an effort of research as you're doing the family history. But newspaper.com has that article in there. He was riding with someone who was evidently drug driving, and they were hit head on. So, whenever they had the car accident, and it was around the curve, that curve coming around Nowata, a highway, I don't even remember what highway it is, but it's that highway that has the curve coming out of the water road. Okay. So, there's that history, you can find it that way, and it is in Ancestry. I also wanted to offer that. I know whenever mine is open, I won't tell you mine is the cleanest. I'd really like to have plenty of money, have somebody come in and clean it up for me. So, but it is open where you can see the information if you so decide. Yours is open and locked. Yes, we have mine. So yours and yeah.
I just recently closed mine, but I have a reason for that. As y'all know, she mentioned it earlier about the race riot or the massacre that happened in Tulsa. And I was notified that I was connected to 3 of the bodies that they exhumed. And I did not apply for it. I did not ask them to run my DNA. I didn't think about it because I just assumed that I didn't have anybody at that time in and around Tulsa. But my mentor said, kind of asked me to do it just for a while because we just didn't know what all was involved, what they planned to do with the information. Because like I said, they contacted me and said, hey, your DNA matched these 3 bodies. And so I'm just kind of holding my just for a minute to see what's going to come of it.
But you're still available if we ask.
If you ask me, I'll invite you. You can get in it, but yeah, no.
Anybody got any questions? Well, y'all need to, no?
Yeah. Did you say you had a place where it can have all this written down, the research, just a star maybe, or the star point?
I don't have a place where it's written down. Like we said, our Ancestry, if you do Ancestry.com, and you can even do it, or I think it's 30 days for free. Newspapers.com, but Ancestry, I think it's 30 days for free. And so that'll give you enough time to get in there and get some information if you want. And then it's an annual or a monthly subscription from there, as is newspapers.com. It's a subscription as well. But you can do the research and it not cost you anything if you're willing to just put in that work. Oklahoma Historical Society, that's a good place to start. And if there's any place that does genealogy in the libraries that does genealogy, those are good places. You found a lot of information at the Veneta Library.
And the Craig County Historical Society.
Yeah. And obituaries are good places to find names of people of families. So going back, so if you have any old obituaries, that gives names of people who were related to. So that's a good place to find as well. I really would like to visit Benjamin, the one in Nowata, because that was a lot of our people were buried by the Benjamin Funeral Home. So I think that there's a plethora of information that's probably hidden there that we haven't tapped.
The website that is great where you can do your research and genealogy is family that never search. Search.
This library Karen can go out and start the library. They have a genealogy. They have ancestry on their computers.
Go.
They can clean your stuff for them. Yeah. You can go out there and they'll sit down at a table with you and they'll actually help you.
There you go. And that's what you want, because a lot of people will let you, they'll just tell you, kind of push you in the direction of where it is, but you want someone to help you. Because especially as you first get started, you want someone to help you to navigate it and the names, but you can always text one of us. Well, yeah.
And I was just going to say, if you'd like, I can do that simple genealogy track to where possible. Lowe, and the downlinks, Lowe's, Martin's, and there's one. Do one? Yeah. It's just a simple.
We take it out to get started for the seat.
Yeah, we
have a place to copy.
Yeah,
they could do that. It's your thing.
What are some of the books you say with just in the family?
The books, Silver Bit Black Done, Silver Star, and I can't remember who it's by. It's about fast read. You got a bunch of different little excerpts in there, and Willie Lowe is part of that.
Yes.
And then there's one other one, but I can't remember the narrative.
The slave narrative.
McNair is in the slave narrative.
The other thing that you can consider, Stan Whiting is another Cherokee that was owner of slaves. He used to wind up the father of Aaron Martin, Mike Whiting, Stan Whiting.
WAITE.
Famous Confederate general.
And there's a book on him, and it talks about Mike Whiting, our great-grandfather, and there's that.
Mike Waddy and Mike Martin those two are interchangeable.
Yeah. See those names. You'll see Mike Stoltz, Mike Guardy, Mike Mark Bibbins, wife Diagonella, that's who they're talking about.
So what happens with a name change, what we figured out was with the name might change because let's say that that our grandfather may have been owned by John. Remember we said John had all these children? Well, if John gave one of his children one of those slaves, then the name may have been Martin at the beginning. But when that daughter got married and her name was Van or Lynch or Adair or McNair or all those names that we foster, that's one of the names, so so that all of those names that we're familiar with, that we've heard these names before, if he gave one of the daughters one of those people as a gift, then the name would have changed to whatever her married name is. And so you got to kind of do some deductive reasoning when you're doing your research. And also what we found too is that people wrote phonically, and so they may not have spelled the name like it would have been spelled. So you got to look at the different ways that the name had been spelled, and they hand wrote it. And so in cursive, and it was bad. So
The other thing I want to say, especially in Tulsa, and I'm not sure where everybody's from, but in Oklahoma, they have a group called the Descendants of the Five Civilized Tribes, and Marilyn Van is over that group, and she goes from different cities, sharing information about the people and the tribes, anything that has to do with the freedmen descendants. And so anytime you see one of those advertised, go to them. It's free. Just go sit and listen, and you'll get a ton of information from those individuals. I just wanted to throw that out. Let's just throw that out.
Yes.
So, hi, this is it. I'm today right now in Jig Park of this town. So this is my first cemetery here, and I am so thankful for Israel. I just want to be joking right now. If y'all haven't got your card, you're just go get it. I'm 64 years old. I can tour really. And in India, that's taking care of me. They took care of me. I probably got $1,000 my gift here. My ward just hits me up and look at it. So it got teeth, the battle, everything, always just go. It's here. Now this is my plate. If somebody, and I don't know wherever I don't know what's about the Easter, but if we can do like some videos where can do it, maybe every 3 or 4 months and let us put up because it can get permission up in my hands at all. But we don't know his password. So we need our generation, we need
Yes, and we want your generation to know it. That's why we continue to repeat the same thing at the family reunions, because we the old people now. And we don't want you all to lose who you are. We need you to know who you are. And she's absolutely correct in those benefits that you may. I mean, if you're behind on your rent, they will help you catch up with your rent. Our brother is on what they call the reservation right now. The reservation is in Lowe. It's if you've ever gone down Highway 75 and the reservation is right as you're going down Highway 75, you look over and you see the Oak Mogi. It used to be the roundhouse that you could be familiar with, but he's on the reservation right now in a temporary home as they help him to get resettled. He had a leg amputated and he had a foot amputated, and they have helped him tremendously. They're also in the throes of helping him to file for his disability. So they'll help with those things. The case manager was telling me that if they do it through the tribe, then they can kind of move it through faster. It doesn't get caught up so much in this red tape.
Well, the reservation is the whole state.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. They said Oklahoma messed up their paperwork and it's still Indian territory. That's why the government is fighting behind this. He do strange stuff to the Indians.
Yeah.
It's still Indian territory and they fighting on this side of the paper.
Absolutely right. And let me tell you, if y'all have if you have an Indian tag and you go through the turnpike, it'll register. It's been 2 years. I'm waiting on. And I'm not saying that to give away with stuff, but I'm just saying your tag won't register. If you have a pike pass, it will take off there. But I don't have a pike pass, and it's supposed to send you your bill for it. And I'm still waiting 2 years later. And that's one of the things that Governor Stitt wasn't happy about, was that Indian tags weren't registering in order for them to be able to sit.
Right. Good morning.
Some Cherokees are registered now. Some Cherokees will register now. I got a bill for $30. That was one of my kids, but some Cherokees will register.
I have a creek tag, so yes. And that's one of the things if you live in Oklahoma. But if you don't live in Oklahoma, there's also some benefits that you can still benefit from. When COVID was the thing and they were sending out ARPA money, then if you were registered and you had a card, you got $2,500 in the mail from. If you were freedmen, if you were Cherokee, you got $2,500, If you were Creek, you got $5,000. You got $2,500 twice. When your children are getting ready to go to school, they will help with school clothes as far, that's in Oklahoma. I don't know about that. Now, and also if you live in Oklahoma, there's a burial benefit. I know that's morbid, but there's a burial benefit as well. But it did help me when Sherry passed away. When my sister passed, she didn't have any insurance. It did help me to be able to, there was like a $5,000 benefit, but they gave me, it was $500 to help buy food and then $5,000 to help bury her. So there's that as well. So looking into the benefits, and when I went to school, I went to nursing school, I got a stipend where it helped me. I did have to send my grades in. So it is dependent on your grades. You can't just get in and not do anything. They do want you to do something. But when I was in nursing school, I also got a stipend as I was going to school every semester. I would have to send in my grades, and then they would send her. Every little bit helps. It may not have been, but, or if you're also in the medical field, you can also ask them to pay for your school. Now, you do have to pay them back with years of service, but it's a way to have your school paid for.
And also what they're saying is you have to have a role model.
Yeah.
So in your search, through your search for your ancestors, they'll show up on a census card. Census card, once they're approved, you'll be given a roll number off of that census card. You take that number and you identify your ancestor, and this is how you get a roll number. So just kind of back it up a little bit on what's being said. You have to show that you are an ancestor. It's a part of your inheritance because of your ancestors.
Please, I got a question. Okay, I'll play your question. Okay, everybody got $1 in the period, got $2,000. Where that come from?
That was during the time of COVID.
Yeah, I got $2,000, and all of them got $2,000. From my dad.
That was during COVID.
Everybody got. Where did it come from?
It came from the federal government. The federal government did the money to give out.
Where I get it from? It should be $2,000.
Vern gonna say something on that.
Okay.
Now, we're talking about the benefits, schooling, health, for all kinds of housing benefits. Your home repair, your homes, there's a plethora of resources out there. However, I'm saying if you do not have your citizenship card, you're entitled to it. They just gave you the history as to why you're entitled to it. So I'm saying just don't get it for the benefits.
Right.
Get it because that's part of your heritage. That's your legacy that you're going to leave on to your children. My father got his citizenship card in 1903. See what I'm saying? And so I was determined that we had to get ours as well because that's part of our history. That's part of our legacy. But with that comes a responsibility. That responsibility means when it's time to vote, when the tribes are having their elections, get in there and vote. Because we're only as protected or as good as the next chief.
Right, true.
Because the chief can come in and say, well, I don't like the way they look. They are no longer considered citizen of the Creek, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Seminole, or any of the others.
And the Creek tribe kicking them off.
And the Choctaw right now is battling. The Cherokee had get theirs out for a while, but they brought them back. So there comes a responsibility once you're a citizen. And they send you because they beat the month or whatever. So read it because they tell you when to vote, how to register to vote, get your kids to vote, and that's my thing. I'm heavy on that.
Bernie, can you talk about you can only belong to one?
Oh well, you can actually. It depends on the tribe. You can being citizens of two tribes, you can only use benefits from one.
That's right.
So if like Creek and Cherokee, you say, okay, well, I'm going to take the Creek benefits. So therefore, even though I'm dually enrolled, I will only be use the benefits of the Creek because they don't want you to get. So that's so.
You know, which has more benefits to Creek about the share like that.
Yeah, just yeah. Some don't. Yeah,
Because I'm a dual citizen.
The
yeah.
reason they had to bring the blacks, the freaking or the
Creek.
Cherokee part, but how does it become rule?
That means if you have two cards, that means you are already dual. You're a dual.
You're dual.
citizen.
No,
You don't need to do it.
to have it listed on the card as a dual. I have to be back with. I'm only registered with the Cherokee because we had that buzzers one card because my mom's Cherokee, so now I have Cherokee Creek. My card says Cherokee Creek, but I'm enrolled with the Cherokees. I can't disenroll from Cherokee and move over to Oak Creek, but I'd still be dual.
Yes.
But mine is Cherokee Creek.
And if I may mention that, like Lord Gary was saying about us being put off of their roles, they can't by law because of the treat.
Well, they can't,
But they do.
That's true. That's what they always refer back to as the treaty is what, and because when the treaty was written, what it did was the Cherokees they agreed that they would give the slaves that they owned, they would give them the same benefits as their own package, and that's how when the treaty comes. And you all, there's nothing wrong with being freedmen. I'll tell you in a minute. So, where people, well, what's the difference between, now you know the difference between freedmen, but that's still our heritage. That's what we are. So there's nothing wrong with being, if you're enrolled with freedmen, that's what we are.
that word, freedman, we're not freedmen. A freedman was a former slave or former person was enslaved, and that could be a white person, a green person, or whatever person. Not just talking about the ones that are here in Oklahoma or the 5 civilized tribes. However, make sure they clarify and say we are descendants of freedmen. Because we're not freedmen, we're descendants of.
Descendants of, you're right.
Yeah. That's yeah, we're not
1865.
Yeah. That's us.
So, yeah.
That's different.
Any other questions?
I got one more question. I'll be done. I'll be done now. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I got both sides of people. See, my mama, say, my dad Creek. I got two sides. I got Creek on my mama's side. I got Creek on my mom's side. And my dad, you know what I'm saying? Cherokes. Okay, my mama say, my dad Creek. Wake up.
Yeah, freak.
What got really quick, yeah. And I got both sides. What do you call that? I got both sides.
No,
I got
That's true.
I got double cook.
Correct.
Yeah, I got one book on four.
Correct. And a lot of so, any other questions? I mean, just take advantage of your heritage. And if you don't do it for you, do it for your children. Do it for your children.
And don't get discouraged, because I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. I've been doing this over 30 years. And it is a lot of work. Sometimes you're going to hit a brick wall, and that's okay, because that brick wall is going to come down at some point. Not when you want it to. You're going to be looking for something, and you can see it and say, that's what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
It's names. There are so many names out there. I'm doing research for a lady now. I got 17 names I gotta look through just to find the one that she belonged to. I'm tired. I want it to be right then, but it don't happen right then. So I just got to take a break and go back.
But you know who yours are.
You know what?
And that.
I think she had a very good back in the back. Had a very good suggestion about the meetings, and we can most certainly do some meetings. You guys have all the emails, and all you have to do is just say when. But I'm going to tell you, when you do that, have one topic.
Yeah.
Because we just touched on the surface of a few topics, And you see how it is, it's too many, and we can't do anyone justice. And, but you know, you say, okay, today we're not having typing and we're gonna look at whatever will it up. And that's all that we will do. Have your questions great. And when you go into the meeting, then it'll make it a lot easier. So, more organized. More organized.
Yeah.
Y'all know I'm not organized. I got all over the place.
You really are.
You find a little nugget and you start running over here. I got about 6 notebooks with all this stuff in, none of it put together.
All right, y'all good?
Yes, thank you.
All right.
I'm fortunate and so pleased to have you all to do all the research and everything that done, because I mean I feel like I just kind of been out of it. I don't know why, but this is only I think out of all the reunions that has happened, this may be the 4th one. You know, so I'm catching up too.
And just so y'all know, Aunt Cassie was the one who started these and then kept them going. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah, out there,
says the current host. It is, but it's we do it because we need the connection. We need to know who we are, and we need to know our family is large. It's very large, and especially if you don't want your kids married like that.
And they will.
Right.
My husband, my ex-husband, but my cousin, no 150. So he
Well, you know, back then they didn't have no choice because they was given to this one or they was given to that one. But today we have a choice. We can find out. My mom would say, don't mess with that one unless you can, folks. Don't mess with that one unless you can, folks. And your grandpa, some of you, he sure would say, that's your kin, folks.
people don't do that no more.
I do. I thought he had to kiss the colors.
and you know, I see them here in prayer goes to go to we will just stop your program.
We are.
Yes, they help them.
It'll be a real.
Now,
Okay, so here's the quiz. Who is y'all's grandma?
Willie Lowe.
Willie who?
Willie Lowe.
And who was Willie Lowe married to?
Cornelius. Yeah, sure.
Willie Lowe.
Cornelius. Willie Lowe was married to Cornelius.
Willie was the
Neely. Cornelius said, okay. So, and y'all got the names right here. You want to cheat? Okay, so who was Cornelius's parents?
Cornelius' mom was going down.
Who was Cornelius's daddy? Aaron. Good. And to the favorite part. Who was Aaron Martin's?
Aaron Martin.
Aaron.
I don't care.
Not your dad. You passed. Who was Queen was Aaron's other wife. She was the sister.
Nellie and Mike's what was Aaron.
Nellie and Mike.
I learned these.
So, who was Aaron Martin who enslaved Aaron Martin? John Martin. What was John Martin's title?
Judge.
Where's his
Borges.
All right. You know the question I'm getting ready to ask? He's kidding you. You're right, he better. Yes. Thanks. Who owned Mike Mercury?
John?
John Martin.
I was no.
Yeah.
Confederate?
Oh, Stan Wade.
Yeah, Stan Wade.
They were on it.
All right.
Like this is great.
I said that Renee, if everybody in here knew everybody, Do you know everybody in this building?
I mean, you know,
Well, no, I'm gonna go past that. She said we're gonna introduce everybody tonight. What happens when you introduce someone? Soon as you leave their side. You forget their name. So, you know, I come from a creative family, and we like to get real creative. I say take someone you do not know. I mean, seriously, brother in the red shirt, I don't know you. I'm gonna make you my best friend for the next year. You know what that means? We're gonna exchange phone numbers, emails, Facebook, social media, whatever. And for the next year, we're gonna communicate. We're gonna learn about each other. Whether we get to know Stan Wagey or Aaron Martin or Gideon Cornelius, we're gonna know each other. So at the next function, I'll say, oh, my bestie is the young man in the red shirt. And it's really better to get an old person with a young person. I like you. You could fall into my family because you got locks. And so, that's what I'm saying, because you'll learn a little bit about us as a person. Because people would say, can I say this? I really have to say this. I went to my cousin's funeral. Her name was Billy Downey. Anybody know Billy Downey? Okay, well, that's where you come in with some Landers, some Hodricks, some Rose, some Lowe's, and some all this other stuff. But anyway, when I went to the funeral, and Billy, we grew up real close. When I went to the funeral, she said, oh, you're part of the Clark Downey's. I'm going, I didn't know they were here. I didn't.
Right.
But I mean, the whole family were like, oh, so you had the Clark Downey's. I'm going, okay. Well, I think maybe we probably need to get to know the black ones and the white ones and the Asians and the green ones. So I think we need to just really get real personal and make a connection and with each other instead of just taking their name. That's all.
And let me just say, I did my DNA, and I didn't have a problem doing my DNA. Somebody said, well, what if they get your information? If you have a cell phone, they got your information. If you have a smart TV, they got you. I mean, they had your information for years. So don't be afraid to do your DNA and know who you are. I can't say I'm telling you this part, and then I'll move back kind of weekend. But I can tell you guys, I was talking to my boss about my DNA. I was just like, Lord, please, just let it be 75%. 75%. And she's like, 75% what? I'm like, just let it be 75% brown. Now, I did have to add my Native American ancestry in to get that 75%, but also just knowing that there's a 25%, I mean, it is what it is. 25% of our, yours might be more depending on your mom. The RNA comes from the mom's side, the DNA from the dad's side, but it's important, if you want to know, it's best to get an older brother or the father to do DNA tests. And so if you want to know yours, if you have a sibling, girls can do it, but it's best to get a male brother or the dad to do it. So your DNA is your DNA, and trust me, they already got it.
They got it.
And if somebody's in trouble and they find you because of my DNA, I'm sorry, just straighten it up.
You shouldn't have did it.
Sorry. You got it count.
So we want to take a small.
You know my questions for the ladies? We're going to learn some more tonight. Yes. Okay?
I don't know if it'll be different, but it's okay.
Thanks for review.
Okay. And you got little notepads in your gift bags? Yes. Use those. It's got a pen with it, and it's got you got writing material. You can use that. I should be too.
But can you very smart?
This lady